And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I appreciate your patience here this morning as we got set and ready to go. As you know, I have been a little bit under the weather here with some sinus stuff, so I appreciate y'all being with us here this morning and dealing with my voice going in and out of sounding like my voice. So I appreciate it so very much. I do impressions. I've done them since I was a kid. So, but this week was not an impression, you know. I'm just happy I didn't sound like Bane. That I didn't come on the show like this, you know. I mean, I'm happy that I didn't sound like that the whole way. But happy to be here with you. Happy to be inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Y'all are amazing. Good morning, and of course, Great Lakes Honda City. Go and visit them on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York, for sales and service. They are open Monday through Saturday. And, of course, they're open all the time online at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. So make sure you check them out for your next ride or your first ride ever. Make sure you go over to Great Lakes Honda City. Happy to be here with you on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. So however you're connected with the show, thank you for tuning in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. So however you're with us, thank you for being with us up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. A lot of great stuff coming up today. And of course, as we bring you our Friday broadcast inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', giving you the list of topics and guests coming up for each broadcast. I have the opportunity today to bring you a very special broadcast of a trio of signature segments. As you know, we have every single Friday the Annoying Moment of the Week, LEAD, which stands for Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver. And of course, we're also bringing you another edition of a segment that we do throughout the year called Commissioner Corner, where I speak with leaders of collegiate athletics all around the country. No stranger to the broadcast is the one and only Noreen Morris, who will be joining us again here today, coming to us from the NEC and one of the conferences inside of Division I in the NCAA athletic world. So very happy to have Noreen Morris going to be joining us in just a little bit at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, less than an hour from now. But before that, the Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, LEAD, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero, and the Top Dog of the Week, proudly presented by K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare. So a lot of great stuff coming up here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. Let's jump into the Annoying Moment of the Week, shall we? I always smile when I do this because I just love the way it sounds.
Dan Tortora proudly brings you...
Is that for real? Are you kidding me?
The Annoying Moment of the Week.
I really, honestly, I don't know how to respond to this.
Presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It's what happy tastes like.
Do you have to be that crazy? I guess so. The Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by the wonderful team at Carvel DeWitt. Every single week, I can go anywhere with this thing, and man, it's definitely, it's one of my favorite segments. It's the longest standing segment on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and I'm always happy to have this segment here with you with the Annoying Moment of the Week. So let's jump right into it. I mean, I got to give it up. I got to first and foremost, it's one that's been on my mind, and it kind of reminds me. It's funny because this happened to me, and then I watched an episode of Everybody Loves Raymond, and, you know, any of you that know me know that I absolutely love that show. Why? Because, you know, part of my heritage is Italian, and having an Italian family, my mom's name is Deborah, and, of course, the mother in the wife of Ray Barone in the show, Deborah, the mother-in-law, Marie, and my mother-in-law on my dad's mom, the mother-in-law to my mom, Mary. So it was very, very close growing up, and there was a lot of similarities. in how our family dynamic was with my grandma and my mom and all that. So we watched the show growing up, and I could laugh about a lot of things because a lot of them felt real, and maybe maybe more real at times than you wanted them to feel. So I know my mom can feel me on that. And yeah, something happened to me in the grocery store, and then I was going through, and it just so happened to be I picked a season of Everybody Loves Raymond, and this episode popped up, and I was like, well, I got to watch this episode because I feel like this just happened to me. And that was the episode where Ray is traveling and he's in the airport, and this kid or this guy comes up, or he's in the bathroom, and he goes to wash his hands, and this guy sneezes all over Ray, and Ray's like freaking out that this guy sneezed all over him. Well, when I was in the grocery store, when I was at Wegmans this past Sunday, I was going to leave, and I knew I was a little bit under the weather. Like I knew, okay, I'm tired. I haven't been sleeping. I need to make sure I take care of myself, this, that, and the third. And so I knew that. And I go into Wegmans and I'm handling my business and I'm doing my own thing. And I'm going to leave. And this kid, there's all of these people, and this kid is walking toward me, and he just starts coughing, and he's got his mouth open. He's not covering anything. He's just hacking just into the air right toward me. And there was a moment when I was in the airport years ago where this one guy, it was the same thing that this guy was walking toward me, and it was similar. He had a mask on, and he took his mask off to sneeze right in front of me. And I was sitting here thinking to myself, like, isn't that what the mask is for? Aren't you supposed to wear the mask so that you don't cough and sneeze on people? Like, why are you taking it off so that you can do it? And I remember thinking to myself, because I got sick back then, I remember thinking to myself, like, did I get sick because this guy that was walking toward me decided to take his mask off to cough, to sneeze right in front of me? And then this kid had no mask on, nothing on, no protection, and just decided to just cough all up in my space. And then, he just like licked his lips and kept moving with his life. And I'm sitting here going to myself, like, you're old enough to know better. This kid had to be like, at least, I want to say he was at least 9. And then I'm thinking to myself, like, do you have a family? Does that family ever tell you to cover your mouth? Like, if it was me, my mom would have like probably slapped me in the back of the head and told me to cover my mouth. So that's got to be an annoying moment of the week to me, because again, years ago, I'm in the Detroit airport, I'm walking, I'm not bothering anybody. Guy takes his mask off, sneezes right in my space, like right in front of me, and then he puts his mask back on and keeps done. No, I'm nothing. I don't think he said I'm sorry. Maybe he did. I was in a state of shock, but he did it, and then he walked away. And then this kid just coughed right in my space, and he coughed. It wasn't like it was like a all up in my face. And then I was like, what is wrong with you? Like, why would you do that? And I remember I just like standing there going, why do people do this stuff? Like what? And really it's the overarching thing that I talk about all the time on the show is, why don't we care about each other? You know what I mean? I don't care how old you are. Like, yeah, okay, if you're a 3 or 4-year-old, you may not know to cover your mouth. Okay? But if you have any type of a parent, and again, I bring it back to the parents. We talk about kids these days, and I know so many great kids. I do the high school show with Wake Up Call, and we're at Avicoli's with Liverpool. We're at Pizza Man with Beeville. We're at the Wildcat with West Jenny. We got another one coming up that I can't announce yet, but I'm excited about. So I'm with these kids all the time. And I know there's great kids in the future of America because I sit with them and I talk with them and I talk with their parents. And so I'm around really great kids and I applaud their parents. And then there's these other kids that I'm like, they just don't seem to care. And I go back to the parents for that. Because yes, a kid should know better. And yes, a kid acts out, but you have to teach them, right? You have to teach your children. If you teach your children and they don't listen, that's one thing. But if you don't teach your children, that's another thing. And when this kid walked toward me, and I don't want to do how hard he coughed because it'll hurt my throat, but this kid he just unleashed this massive cough. And I'm sitting here, and like, there was a lot of people walking around, so I didn't even see if there was anybody with him. Like, if he even had a parental figure that was by his side. But I was like, what the heck, man? And you're old enough to know better. So we need to teach our kids. And and that's a problem in society in America right now anyways, is like, there's a lot of people that had children that don't want to raise them. Like, if you had a child, they're your responsibility. It's not YouTube's responsibility. It's not the iPhone's responsibility. It's not the television's responsibility. It's your responsibility. I mean, I was down in Disney, and there was this one kid. I think the mom was on the phone, and she's like by the stroller, and she's texting and doing her thing. And the kid's like whining, and probably 3 years old, 4 years old, something like that. The kid's whining, pulling on their mom, and she just grabs a tablet and hands it to the kid. Like, I don't want to deal with you. I'm on the phone. So here's a tablet, 3-year-old. Go on this tablet where the internet can bring you to all these dangerous places that you don't understand. But here, let it teach you. Because the internet, and you say, I mean, Dan, you're on the internet. Yeah, I am. Because I use the internet for good, positive things. But there's negative things everywhere. There's negative things in the world. There's negative things on the internet. You got to be careful with what you do. And this whole, like, I don't want to parent, so I'm just going to give them a device. I don't want, like, if I'm a dad right now, I don't want my kid to, and I'm grateful because the kid that I have, Miss Lily, I don't worry about her on the phone. But when parenting today, it's hard because kids have access to things, but they have access to what you give them access to. Just because every kid's got a phone doesn't mean your kid has to have a phone. Well, my friends, I don't care. We have to be better about what we're teaching, and we have to be willing to teach and willing to take the time, right? If you're going to if you're going to have the child, that child is your responsibility. And we have to be more responsible. Like I said, I know wonderful children in society, wonderful kids. So I don't want to hear that society is doomed in America because this generation doesn't get it and because I don't believe that. I believe that a lot of what you see in a child is at the mercy of the parent, right? Is the parent raising the child, or are they not raising the child? And when I see a kid out there that doesn't care about anybody's health or safety and is doing whatever they want, I go back to the parent and I say, are you teaching them anything? And then when I meet the kids that have great responsibility and they shake my hand and they stand up and they look me in the eye and they say, thank you, Mr. Tortora, for your time. Thank you. Love being on the show, this and that. When I see those manners, that means the world to me. When I sit with West Jenny and Beeville and Liverpool and so on and so forth, CNS and CBA, like, I've had the opportunity of meeting fantastic kids. Fantastic kids. Yes sir, no sir kids. Yes ma'am, no ma'am kids. Kids that pray with you, that talk with you, that sit with you, that thank their coach, that thank me, that have manners and care and help out and clean up. And I applaud all those parents. And I think that those parents and those guardians need to be celebrated. And then you also meet people in society, young and old, that, they don't seem to care. Another annoying moment of the week, speaking of people that don't seem to care, how many people run red lights? Now, listen, I'm a culprit. Okay, I've had my moments where the light's yellow and I'm trying to make it, and I know, hey, you're probably not going to make it. So I'm at fault for this too, because I've had my moments. I've gotten used to, though, when especially by my neighborhood, when the light turns red, I stop and I wait, and I'm like, there's going to be one car. But now there's not one car. Now there's 1, 2, 3, 4 cars going through the red light, both sides. And so that's another thing I want to know. Are you witnessing this in America? Are you witnessing this in central New York? Because I feel like it's happening more. I feel like more people are running red lights. I feel like more people are like, I don't have time to sit here and wait for this light. And that's another annoying moment of the week to me because it's not safe. And like I said, I put it on me too. I'm not going to say that I haven't had my moments where I'm like, man, I shouldn't have done that. I should have stopped. And I'm not talking about in the snow with the ice where you're like, I got to go through this thing because if I don't, it's more unsafe for me to try to stop and slide and whatnot. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the roads are cool and you go through the red light. And I think a lot of you that are watching and listening, you could probably sit here with me and say, yeah, Dan, I've done that too. Right? You know, I've gone through 1 or 2 in my day and this and whatever. But I feel like more people are doing it now. And I feel like it's a testament to we really don't care about anybody else. If I don't know you, right? If I'm not dating you, if I'm not friends with you, if I'm not doing business with you, I'm just going to rock. You know, I'm just going to do whatever I want to do. And I feel like we need to be nicer to strangers, right? Cover our mouths when we cough. Don't go through the red light. Hold the door open. I don't mind holding the door open for 50 people. I've done it before where like I'm holding the door and I just keep holding the door. I held the door coming out of church and, you know, people are like, thank you. And they're like, oh, we didn't know we had a door, man. Thank you. And then other people just walk through. And here's the thing. And I feel like a lot of you can go with me on this. I don't hold a door open for you to say thank you. But when people don't say thank you, it provokes you to be like, what the heck, man? You know what I mean? Like, I don't hold the door open in order to get the thank you. I hold the door open because I believe that's what God would do, right? God's be like, hey, there's somebody coming, hold the door. You know, like it's just something inside of me that's like, if you see somebody, hold the door for them. I don't care if they're across the parking lot, like hold the door for them. Where do you need to be right now? Like if you don't have to be anywhere, like hold the door. Or I'm okay being a half a second late because I held the door for somebody, so hold the door open. And again, it's like I don't do it for the thank you, but when you walk through the door, like I am the doorman, then that like provokes inside of me being like, who do you think you are? So I want to know if other people feel that way, where you're not looking for the thank you, and at the same time when people walk through and don't say anything, you're like, what the heck? You know, like, do you think that I'm here to serve you? Because I'm not. You know what I mean? And I can't imagine doing that. Like, I can't imagine somebody holds a door for me and I don't say thank you. I don't care if the person's like the meanest person in the world and like rude to me like crazy. Like, if somebody's disrespected me for years, but they hold the door open for me, I'm going to be like, hey, thanks, appreciate it. You know, because it's a nice thing. It's a nice thing to do. So really, you know, the annoying moment of the week is it's thinking of other people, right? This whole like, I'm sick and I don't feel good, so let me just cough all over the planet. Like that's not a fun thing to do. It's not a nice thing to do. It's not a kind thing to do. But people do it because it's like, well, what do I care? What do I care if I cough in your face? It's not my problem. Like, I'm sick. Coughing in your face isn't going to make me more sick. It's like, yeah, but what about caring about me? What about caring about my schedule and what I got going on? You know, you run this light and my light turns green and I start to go, I got the right of way. I don't have to stop and anticipate you. But see, that's what I wonder too. Like, I do that. But does every driver do that? Like when I'm in a light, I don't go, oh, it's green, my time to go. I go, oh, it's green, let me look around me and I search my surroundings to see is somebody going to run the light? And then I go, right? When we are thinking only about ourselves, we have to hope that other people are thinking about us. So when we're being selfish, we have to hope that other people are being selfless. When you run a red light, you have to hope that somebody else is seeing you do it and waiting for you. Because that decision that you're making that's personal is now community-based, right? If I run a red light and people start to go, now I'm putting everybody's life at risk because I'm impatient. But see, you're thinking, I want to get here. But it's not anybody else's responsibility to take care of your bad decision. And that's, I think, what we don't realize in society. It's no one else's responsibility to take care of your bad decision. I shouldn't have to be responsible for you coughing in my face. Are you going to pay my doctor bill? Are you going to go buy me NyQuil? Are you going to tuck me into bed and make sure I rest? Right? When you put my life at risk running a red light, or I put my life at risk running a red light, you think about, what am I doing with those other people? We have to think about each other. Holding the door open for somebody could be the one good deed that they've had done for them in a month. I held the door open for a couple coming out of Chick-fil-A and DeWitt on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. I held the door open. You would have thought I gave this couple $1 million. They couldn't believe that anybody in society in the 2020s was holding the door for a stranger. It totally blew them away that anybody was doing a nice deed. And I'm like, it's a door. And the lady was like, why did you do that? And I was like, because it's what we're supposed to do. And they're like, yeah, you would think that, but people don't do. And I'm like, well, I do. We got to think of each other. You have to. Why, Dan? Why do I have to think about other people? Because whether you admit it or not, you want them to think about you. We all want people to think about us. We'd be lying if we said we didn't. And when you're on the road, you don't want people to think about your health and safety? If they're not, they're weaving in and out of everybody, putting your life and everybody else's at risk. You want people to think about you when you're driving. You do. You want people to think about you in the grocery store. If they're sick, wear a mask or, cough into their arm or, cover their face somehow. Subconsciously or not, you want other people to think of you. So you need to think of other people. Because I shouldn't be responsible for all the stuff going on in your life and what you do and how you act and what you say. That's you. That's not on me. That's on you. I got to cover me. I can't cover me and you and everybody else. I have no control over that. But see, we put people at risk all the time because we don't care. We just don't care anymore. Right? Because the media tells us that we should all hate each other. Because that allows them to control you. And they say, well, Dan, you're in the media. Yeah. And most of the media doesn't like me. Because I don't go down that road. I'm not part of that cult. I'm in my own. I serve God. And trust me, walking into a room full of media is a lonely place. But I exist thanks to God, not thanks to them. And I'm not there for them. I'm here for you. I'm here to tell you the truth. And the truth of the matter is, we don't care about each other. And we've been bred by the media to continue to not care about each other. And I am going to be a voice to remind you that we should care about each other. Because this world can get better at the snap of a finger if we all started doing that. That's the annoying moment of the week. Let's be kind. Let's be nice. Let's be considerate. Okay? And let's just be good to each other. We'll take a step aside on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. When we come back, lead, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver. Proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero. An all-new topic that connects back to the annoying moment of the week because God always does that on the show somehow, some way. Thank you to Carvel DeWitt for the annoying moment. Please know that there's nothing annoying about Carvel DeWitt itself. They sponsor this broadcast, but they are the place to go where it's what happy tastes like. And make sure you get my new sundae, the American strawberry sauce, vanilla, ice cream, blue M&Ms, red, white, and blue, with brownie pieces, whipped cream, and a cherry because I just want to put more in it. You can get it today and every day, only at Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. We'll be back in just a second inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Stay with us.
Hi, This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and perfect segue as you hear from Chick-fil-A Cicero, as they are the ones to bring us inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, our segment that we do every Friday called Lead. Learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver. Coming to you from Chick-fil-A Cicero and from owner-operator Jimmer Sikowski and his wonderful team at Chick-fil-A Cicero on 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, New York. Today's topic, you can't control it. And everything I just talked about, we can't control it. I can't control if somebody decides to open mouth cough all over me. I can't control if somebody runs a red light. I can't control if somebody says thank you when you hold the door. I can't control if somebody holds the door. And a lot of things that upset us in life, we have no control over. Absolutely none. So how do you deal with it? How do you deal with a world where mostly everything you can't control? Well, you have to take care of what you can control. What can we control? What can we do? The only thing you can control in life is yourself. And that's a really hard thing for some people to hear. Hard for me to hear as I've gone through life. Man, all I can control is me? Yeah, that's all you got. That's all you can control is yourself. So I ask you today, what have you been worried about? What have you been fretting over? What's been bothering you? Is it something you can't control? Because if it's something you can't control, how long are you going to allow it to happen? How long are you going to allow yourself to be upset, frustrated, mad, angry, when you know you have no control over it? How long do you want to live your life worrying about something that you're never going to be able to change? That's a question. Only you can answer that. Mostly everything we worry about in our day-to-day lives, we cannot change. So you're living in a defeatist lifestyle, right? Because if you're worrying about that which you cannot change, you're living a life that's going to constantly frustrate you. You're going to constantly be mad. You're going to constantly be stressed out, right? When you just, why this, why that, why this, why that? You don't have to agree with everything that happens in life, and you don't have to like it. But you know how upset you're going to make yourself spending your life worrying about things you can't control? There's nothing you can do about it. Well, Dan, I'm just supposed to accept the world for what it is? You have to accept that things are happening. You don't have to like it. You don't have to support it. You don't have to go along with it. I have a sign in my studio behind me that says, it is what it is, but it will become what you make of it. See, there's things in society I don't like. I don't like that political parties have divided us to a point where we hate total strangers, where we stop talking to family, where you go on a dating app and if somebody says they're liberal or conservative, you won't even give them a chance. I don't like that we become so polarized by political parties. It's like gangs, right? You look at the two colors, red and blue, and it's like you feel like Democrats and Republicans have just become gangs, right? They've been fighting for so long, you don't even know why they're fighting anymore, but you're either on one side or the other. And I don't like that. I don't like that people hate each other over that stuff. But I can't control it. But every single day I wake up and, it was like during an election year for a president, you'd hear people argue for a little while. You'd see all the ads just like slapping each other back and forth. And then it would go away. But now it doesn't seem to ever go away. And if somebody doesn't like somebody, even when that person like proves you wrong, proves the media wrong, they still won't listen. And we've become so polarized as a society. It's like, why? Did you vote for this person? Well, I hate you. Did you vote for this person? Well, you're racist. Well, you're sexist. Well, you hate babies. Well, you hate that. And it's like, wait a minute. How are we judging each other? You know what I mean? And we throw around words like sexist and racist so easily in society, which is a terrible example to our kids because there are things that are racist and there are things that are prejudiced and there are things that are sexist. Like as an Italian, being Italian and having Italian blood and Spanish blood, like having those backgrounds, I'm very proud. I'd be proud of whatever. If I was Irish and Welsh, I'd be proud of that. Like I'm proud of my heritage. I'm proud to be an American. I'm proud to have Italian blood. I'm proud to have Spanish blood. I'm proud of my family. And I'd be proud of my family wherever we come from. And I never thought that I would experience racism toward Italians, but I have. And it was weird. When people look at you and it's like, well, you can't talk about race because you don't. And it's like, wait a minute. There can only be racism toward one person, toward one group. That's racist even thinking that, right? See, I don't like that people treat people in such a way where it's like, you got to feel sorry for me and you got to be upset and you got to be this and you got to be that. But like, they don't understand. You know, they look at you and they go, well, you're not this color, so you're privileged. That's not true. I went to a school where I was a similar color as the majority of people there, and I was an outcast. And if they had known that I had Spanish blood, maybe I would have been more of an outcast. I don't know. But I was an outcast. I didn't have to be a certain color to be an outcast. I didn't have to be a woman to be an outcast. Like, I was an outcast at the school I went to. And maybe it was because my parents didn't make the same amount of money. Maybe it was because I didn't have the right last name. Maybe because my dad and mom didn't donate something. But I was an outcast. I was behind the eight ball. And that was a really weird experience. And I didn't like it. And to this day, I don't understand why people treat people that way. But that, you know, we're living in this society where it's like people are claiming things. I'm the only group that can be racist against us. You know, like we're the ones that are hurt by this, or we're the ones that are hurt by prejudice, or we're the ones that are, you know, hurt by religious this and that. And it's like, stop. Okay? I don't discriminate against anybody. I don't care who you are. The only time I don't want to be around somebody is when they are a diligent blank hole. Somebody that wakes up every day that's like, I hate my life and I'm going to make everybody else hate theirs. Those are the people that I don't mess with. Those are the people I don't get myself around. I could give two whatevers about anything else. If you look at my closest friends that have become brothers and sisters to me, we're all different colors, all different backgrounds, all different nationalities, all different amounts of money, all different life, you know, jobs and all that stuff. Our common denominator is we believe in God. For the most part, my closest of friends. But even then, there's some that like don't know what they believe in. But if you look at everybody that I love and that I'm closest to, none of us are the same. So what bonds us? The fact that we don't see color and money and all this other garbage. Right? If I was closed-minded, I wouldn't have the family I have. The family that God gave me that's not my blood. You know, if I was closed-minded, my closest friends wouldn't be my closest friends. And same thing if they were closed-minded. You know, so I live in a world where I choose to be around people that are good people. I don't say, well, let me find someone who's good that's this color or who's good that's in this tax bracket. And that's where I think people mess up. And it happens a lot in dating too, is that people aren't necessarily looking for the right person. They're looking for criteria. And then, you know, this guy, anybody I date has to be 6 feet tall. And then once he's 6 feet tall, he's got to have X, Y, and Z. And it's like, well, what if the best guy in the world isn't 6 feet tall and he has all the stuff that actually matters? But we can't control any of this stuff. I can't control how people want to date, how people want to talk, how people want to act. I can't control that. But what I can do and I can suggest is that we stop acting like we're the only victim or we're the only important or we're the only this or we're the only that. Just stop. Just stop doing that. Like I said, being Italian, I never thought, like, Italians have assimilated into American culture. There was a time where the KKK was not a fan of Italians. Maybe they still aren't. I don't know, because I don't associate with any of that stuff. I have no idea what they believe or don't believe in. I don't know much that they do believe in, and I don't know why they still exist, because I think it's a terrorist organization within America, but that's my thought. I mean, anybody that burns the cross of Jesus, I'll pray for you. I'm not gonna, that's not a friend to me. You burn the cross of Jesus Christ. I mean, that's a path I don't want to go down. And, you know, but I think about my life and I think, like, you know, I'm not going to get discriminated against. I mean, Italians used to be, but we're not now. And then I worked at a grocery store, and it happened in front of my face. And it wasn't directly pointed toward me. It was pointed toward somebody I work with. But it was against Italians. And I couldn't even believe what I was hearing. You know, I was pulled over by a police officer before in New Jersey, and I don't know what his deal was. I don't know if it was because my girlfriend at the time was Puerto Rican. I have no idea. But whatever he did that day was not law enforcement. Now, I trust police. By and large, I do. That cop should never have a badge. I don't know how he got one. I hope he turned it in, because that entire experience was beyond comprehensible. So there are things that happen in society that are wrong, but we can't blanket policy that. You can't say all of this color hates that color, all of this religion hates that religion, men hate women, you know, and so on and so forth. We can't say that. But the media does that because they want you to be divided, because you can manipulate divided people. It's hard to manipulate a community that loves each other. It's easy to manipulate a community that is disjointed and disbanded, right? If you don't talk to your neighbors, it's easy for the media to tell you, continue to not do that because you can't trust them. But if you talk to your neighbors and you build relationships with them and the media tells you to shut your door and not talk to anybody, you're going to be like, the media's nuts. I love my neighbor. Big fan, right? We have to make our own decisions, because the only thing you can control in your life are your decisions, your words, your actions. That's all you can control. That's it. And I can't believe I'm talking to a society in America in 2026 that I have to remind that you can make your own mind up. You can make your own decisions. Don't let other people make decisions for you. If somebody comes up to me and they say, you should hate that person, I'm thinking, why are you saying that? Why are you coming up to me and why are you saying that? Why do you hate them? Right? I remember I had a friend in college, Mike, and we were friends for over a year. We were roommates for a little while. And he was just different toward me for like a couple weeks. And he would walk by me in the hallway when we were the only people in the hallway. And I stopped him one time and I put my hand on him. Not in a mean way. I just kind of put my hand out to stop him. I said, Mike, what's going on? He said, get your hand off me. I said, Mike, what's going on? He goes, you don't understand. Like, if I'm here right now, like, you know, I'm like, he wanted to fight me or something. And I'm like, what is happening? Well, it turns out that somebody said something to Mike about me and about how I feel about him. And he never bothered to ask me if it was true. He just believed it. And I was like, 2 years of friendship is going to die because somebody came up to you and said something about me that you didn't even bother to ask me about? I said, if that's the case, we were never friends. I put 2 years into this friendship, and somebody can just walk up to you and go, hey, Danny said this about you, and that's it? So that means people can make up lies at any given time, and you lose everybody. And see, I'm not the type of person that's going to deal with that. By like coddling you and running after you. I'm not going to do that. If I care about you and I've given you no reason to think I don't, and somebody walks up to you and changes your mind about me without you even talking to me, good riddance. Bye. Because I don't have time to put out fires I didn't start. And I don't have time to play the babysitting game. You got a problem, you come to me. Let's talk. And a lot of people are passive aggressive. A lot of people cannot face a problem. I've learned that in life. I'm 40 years old. I know that a lot of people, no matter what they say or how many muscles they have or whatever, they're terrified to come to you and talk to you if they have a problem. But see, I go direct because I have to. Because it drives you nuts if you don't. I got a problem with somebody. I could talk to a million people about it, but nobody can solve that problem because they're not that person. And maybe that person doesn't want to solve the problem, but talking to everybody around the problem does not fix the problem. You have to go right to the problem. And I can't control anything but me. So to kind of wrap this all up and bring it together, we have to be willing to face things head on. We have to be willing to have conversations we don't want to have. We have to be willing to try. Because life is not going to sit here and just fix itself. We have to be willing to do the work. And we have to be willing to talk things out and understand that things may not work out your way. Things might never work out your way. But you have to be willing to try. And if you care about somebody, you care about something, you got to do something about it. Because if you don't sit here. Listen, you could try your darndest and it doesn't change anything. Or it makes it worse. Or the outcome isn't what you anticipated or wanted it to be. That could happen. So what would you rather do? Try and have it not work out the way you want it to? Or do nothing and have it not work out the way you want it to? Because I can promise you that doing nothing will change nothing. Doing something might change it. It may not. But would you rather try to do the right thing, rather try to make a positive change, or would you rather just sit on your hands and hope for the best? And those of you that say you'd rather sit on your hands and hope for the best, you're not the people that I want around me. Because this world doesn't change for the better by hoping that it will. It comes from actions. It comes from words. And it comes from knowing that I can do everything in my power and it still doesn't make a difference. But at least I can put my head on my pillow saying I tried. This has been Lead. Learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver. Understanding that most of the things in life we can't control. But our words and our actions we can. So let's be smart about them. We'll be back inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios for the Top Dog of the Week right after this.
City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, you just heard from them, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York, open for sales and service Monday through Saturday, and open all the time by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. My top dog of the week. This is an easy one for me. It happened yesterday. And so this one is very, very easy. I feel like many of you can anticipate where I'm going by saying that this was an easy one and it happened yesterday. But my top dog of the week, proudly presented by the wonderful team at K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare. To take care of your dog during the day, you can call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110. You can also go to K-9 Kamp.com. That's K-9 Kamp.com for more information. For K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare, located right off the highway and a minute away from Erie Boulevard, very centrally located, easy to get to on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse. K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare. Make sure you get in touch with them today and let them know that DT sent you their way. And so with that being said, my top dog of the week has to be the entire team of the USA women's hockey program. Got to give it up to them. Got to give them love here. Team USA, gold medalist. Team USA appeared in all but one gold medal match since women's hockey made its Olympic debut at the 1998 Nagano Games, each time facing off against the Canadians, but the Americans have only walked away with 2 gold medals. Now it's 3. Team USA defeated Canada 2-1 in overtime at the 2026 Winter Olympics Thursday, February 19th to capture the gold medal, marking the Americans' first Olympic gold medal since the 2018 Pyongyang Games, which they won in a shootout. Now, this was dubbed, quote, the best U.S. hockey team I've ever been a part of, end quote, from Hillary Knight, went undefeated on its run to the 2026 gold medal, matching the 1998 U.S. Olympic champions. The Americans trailed most of this contest against the Canadians before Hillary Knight scored an equalizer with less than 3 minutes remaining in regulation, which sent the game to overtime. Megan Keller's sudden death goal clinched the victory. Now, Knight said, quote, when Meg Keller pulled her move, I knew we had it immediately, end quote. The Americans shut out the Canadians 5-0 in the preliminary round on February 10th, but Thursday's gold medal match was coming all the way down to the end. Canadian defender Renata Fast said, quote, the greatest rivalry in all sports for that reason. Every game is tight. We knew that coming in every single battle, every single play is so important because the game is so close against this matchup. So this is the exact game we expected today, and obviously we just didn't come out the way we wanted to, end quote. Canada's Laura Stacey said, quote, we were 2 minutes and 20-something seconds away from being gold medalists, but sports and hockey is not easy, and I think it's heartbreaking, end quote. The gold medal victory capped off Knight's prolific Olympic career with her second gold and fifth overall medal. Knight now holds the U.S. Olympic hockey record for the most overall medals and gold medals won. She also set the all-time points and goals record. I want to thank USA Today with help in breaking down this wonderful, beautiful victory for the United States women's hockey team that brings the gold back and does it in overtime. This was, when seeing this yesterday, this was one of the easiest top dogs of the week I've ever had to do in my life. So, shout out to the amazing, amazing run by the USA women's national hockey team in the 2026 Olympic Games for getting a gold medal, doing it in overtime with a sudden death goal against the country we know for hockey, which is Canada. Once again stating that the United States, pretty good at hockey, pretty okay, right? They say it all the time. It's the Canadians sharing this, North American land with them. And, when they say North America, which America? So when you look at the fact that Canada are the neighbors to the north of the United States, and they're known for this, right? They're known for what they can do when it comes to hockey. But this women's national team, Team USA, got it done over Canada and chanting the national anthem again. And going back to what I was talking about before, there's a beauty and there's a majesty of the Olympic Games, because we find that our country's divided, but when it comes to the Olympics, we're all united. We find our world's divided, but when it comes to the Olympics, we're all united. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. It would be great if we could mimic the Olympics, if we could be one America at all times, if we could be one world at all times. It would be great to see how all of these nations come together that don't necessarily agree, but we all come together for the Olympics. It's a beautiful sign of what we could be as a world. And when this country comes together, or any country comes together, even though we have disagreements, and we can all unite in cheering on our country as a whole by and large, it gives me hope for the future. So my top dog of the week, one of the easiest ones, like I said, I've ever had to do, the Team USA women's hockey squad for pulling off an overtime thriller to become the gold medalist of the 2026 Winter Olympics, and to show us that America is so much better when we do it together. Congratulations to the Team USA women's hockey squad for their gold medal and for all that they have done to remind us that America truly is the beautiful. We appreciate you. With that being said, we jump right into our new Commissioner Corner here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Commissioner Corner has commissioners all over the country here with us, speaking on what's going on within their conferences, as well as the greater look at collegiate athletics. Noreen Morris has been with me so much from the NEC that she should have her own seat. There should be, something that I just kind of bring in. You know how when you go to like a director's chair and you see a name on the back of it? Well, when it comes to Commissioner Corner, I think Noreen should have one here on Wake Up Call. With that being said, we welcome the NEC Commissioner to speak on multiple topics affecting her conference as well as beyond. Noreen, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Dan, and love the patriotic lead-in to my interview. So love that win for women's ice hockey. It's great.
Yeah, no, it was a tremendous performance, an amazing opportunity to see America shine, and I think it reminds us that we are better together, and so yeah, a very patriotic moment, a moment that I'm proud to share, and a moment that I hope America continues to have these moments and to celebrate these things together, because there's something special about it and something beautiful about it. So I appreciate the fact that, this one stuck out to you like it sticks out to me, that we get to see something like that. So hopping right into it, there's a lot of things that I want to get into in this Commissioner Corner with you. One of them being the fact that the NEC has had some staff moves, and you've done some things with the NEC. So I'd love to share that. Who's come onto the team, who's maybe elevated on your team, and what the NEC staff looks like moving forward.
Yeah, no, I love my staff, and I've had significant long-term staff members. And we did have two, a long-timer and a relatively new staff member get awesome opportunities to move into roles that are quite frankly perfect for them both. Ben Shove, 17 years at the NEC, running our championships, has taken on a VP role with the United Baseball officials assigning, and it's going to be working in the youth space for them. And Adrian Barajas, a former men's soccer player at FDU, who came on as an intern. He was so good, we found a full-time job for him. He's going to be running a soccer-specific facility in South Jersey and doing all the administration and coaching. And so just so happy for the two of them to take that next step in their careers. And we had Caitlin Hughes in our office, who's been with us probably 12 or 13 years. She has now been elevated to the top seat for running our championships. She's wonderful, and she is more than ready and prepared to take on that leadership role within our office. She's just incredible. So I'm excited for her too to get that elevation and step into an associate commissioner role. And then with that, we had to fill some gaps. And so we've hired Ishmael Kagon, who comes to us directly from the WAC, who he spent 4 years there running championships and had worked at the A10 prior to that. He's born in New York and raised in Philly, so he's coming home to the East Coast, and he's jumped right in. He started February 15th and actually February 2nd, and has already been helping with our indoor track and field championships that were this past week. And he and Caitlin both drove out to swimming and diving, happening out the Spire in outside of Cleveland, Ohio. So we've thrown him right into the fire, and he is doing amazing. So we're excited for Ish as he goes by to continue his great work with the NEC.
Well, yeah, and like you said, I mean, with all these changes happening and these elevations happening, these moments for the NEC to show your strength, what does it say about the team, the evolution, what the NEC is becoming to be able to have these moments of welcoming people as well as announcing promotions? What does it say about how this team has evolved and progressed over time?
Yeah, I think when you say you've got newcomers and we've got folks who we're promoting, I think it shows that one, there's loyalty to the NEC, and Caitlin, has been with us, I think it's 12 or 13 years. We've got two people who've been with us over 25 years. And then a series of others who have been anywhere from, let's say, 5 to 10 years. And they really, really enjoy working together. And in fact, Ben, his last day on the job was supposed to be end of January, but he volunteered to help us with men's and women's swimming out in Spire. So he took that drive out there with our staff, and he stayed on for a couple extra weeks because he's so committed to the NEC, and he wants to make sure that we're giving our students the best possible experiences. So that just shows, one, that what a great person Ben was to step up and continue to do that, but two, the loyalty he has to his teammates, right? And he wants to make sure that everything gets done and in a way that is at the level that the NEC expects. And then to have someone with Ish's background, we were able to recruit him, and the fact that someone is, looking at the NEC as a destination shows a lot about, how we do our business. And I think we have a great reputation, not only within the league, but outside the league, and how we run championships and how we focus on that student-athlete experience. So I think, there's nothing but great things happening in the NEC in terms of our staff and the services that we provide.
That coming here from Noreen Morris this morning, the commissioner of the NEC, and also the branding side of things as well. That's something that you and I have talked about before, of what is the NEC essentially looking for to be, and we know that it obviously has stood for Northeast Conference over time, but as the logo is up here, you've expanded, you're out in Chicago, you've gone to different places, and so instead of seeing that NEC with the Northeast above it, you've now just shown the NEC itself. The shift to the branding of just using these three letters, having that, kind of swipe underneath. I don't want to call it a swoosh or a swish or whatever because of Nike, but having that, kind of line underneath it and simply being called the NEC. Bring me into the branding approach that you have as you step forward with the conference.
Yeah, first I was remiss in not talking about the elevation of Chris Horton in our office, who is in charge of our graphic design and helps with our branding and our brand guidelines. So we've elevated him from senior director to assistant commissioner. He's really stepped into more of just our branding. He's a go-to for a lot of us, and so we're excited for Chris. And Chris is a huge component into how we approached this new branding and how we presented it, along with Ron Ratner and his media group. But ironically enough, the move to the NEC and not, the Northeast Conference logo you're talking about, actually originated with one of our student athletes who was at our spring meetings. And Diego Diaz is our SAC rep for the for the NEC. He's the co-chair as well as our NCAA SAC rep. So SAC is Student Athlete Advisory Committee. And he also worked as their digital social media content creator for the NEC SAC. And he talked about how our old logo was kind of difficult to use and be creative with. And so we got to talking about maybe can we just use the NEC logo in certain cases. And that led us into, well, let's think about who are we now with the NEC? And like you said, we have Chicago State. That's not in the Northeast Comp. That's not in the Northeast region. We have Mercyhurst out in Erie, Pennsylvania, a little slightly outside of that, what you'd normally call that, New York metro area. And so we all bought in and just said, you know what? NEC really describes us much better. It's cleaner, sleeker, looks more modern, and we're just going into a new era. And we thought, what better way to brand our new look than to switch to this, simplistic yet I think it's pretty fancy looking too.
Yeah, and so I mean, for that, as you step forward, what do you want people to know when they look at the NEC? Like you said, because you're not simply the Northeast anymore. When you have this sleek logo that's very crisp. I like it when I got it together to put it up in the corner here for the broadcast. I've obviously followed the NEC for many years. You and I have talked for a long time. So when I looked at it, I was like, this is, in my opinion, like the cleanest version that I've seen. I like it. I think it would look good, just simply on a sweatshirt or something like that. So what do you want people to know when they look at it now? What is the NEC as we step forward? What is kind of that, as soon as I see that logo, I'm thinking what?
Well, I'm hoping you're thinking, like you said, sleek. We are new, exciting. We're in the middle of a strategic planning process, and a lot of what we're talking about is continuing to be innovative, bold, adventurous. We don't always take the road most traveled, right? We try to find new and efficient yet exciting ways to manage our business. We also know that the NEC is growing, so we love that our new members. We are all on the same page. We probably one of the most I'm not gonna say collegial because all of our groups are collegial, but we're all on the same page, and we all want this to move together. Forward together, and from the presidents to the ADs, SWAs, coaches, I think everybody is committed to strengthening and continuing to develop the NEC, and we're really looking to enhance our brand with the strategic planning process. We've dove into how do we do that. So we're in the middle of it. I can't disclose state secrets just yet, but we'll have that strategic plan. And hopefully done by June, looking into our next media rights negotiation, which will start in May. And so we're really excited about those two projects, which are really bringing our league together in some really innovative and interesting conversations.
And I know, like you said, you can't give away the strategic plan, but when you're putting it together, what can you say about what your focus was as the commissioner? You've gotten to know this brand for a long time, so to not give away anything that's coming, but what was the focus when you sit down in the creation of a strategic plan? To some people, it's simply a binder, but to you, it's the future and the validity and the existence, right, and the sustainability of your conference. So what were you looking at in the strategic plan that you felt like, hey, we have to make this our focus?
Well, it's interesting is the first two iterations of the strategic plan, I managed internally with a strategic planning committee, and that worked out really well for us. But we have a lot of we have some new faces, some new ADs, some new presidents, some new schools. And so rather than me managing this directly, we brought in a consultant. She's been fabulous, Shoshana Engel-Lewis from VH Consulting. And I did that strategically because I wanted to make sure that in the feedback loop that happens in any strategic planning process, that I wanted folks to be able to speak openly and honestly. And if you want to look at yourself in the mirror and make sure you're saying, what are we doing well? Where can we improve? And where, frankly, are we dropping the ball? And so I thought it'd be much easier for folks to be honest with a third party instead of, I'm building relationships still with some of these newer ADs and presidents, and felt like it would be really important for them to have access to someone who they could speak freely with. Now, not shockingly, there's not a lot of negative responses coming back in the feedback loop. But again, you just never know, right? You can't assume anything. And so I think the very strategic decision to bring in a third party to help us with this, I think has been one of the best decisions, because she's able to facilitate conversations and look at things from an objective third party and ask the questions that maybe we don't even know we're supposed to be asking ourselves. And so she's been fabulous. And so we are focusing really on what are we doing well, what can we do better, and how do we continue to elevate the league. And so, like I said, we're really in the infancy stages of this, but I'm really excited about where we're headed based on the initial first steps that we've taken.
Yeah, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what's to come from the NEC, and I fully blame you, Noreen, many years ago for getting me connected to just wanting to see the success. When I came up with the idea of the Commissioner Corner and reaching out to commissioners, you were one of the first to, be open to a total stranger, give me an opportunity to tell the story of the NEC. And so I thank you for that, because the success and, wanting to strive to see the excellence of it, that all started with you giving me an opportunity to connect with the conference. So before I go anywhere else, I want to say thank you for many years ago, you opening the door, which has always stayed open, because I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure. I really enjoy our conversations.
So there's something I'm really excited about. And the graphic, seeing it, that it's real, it's tangible, it's happening, is that Chicago State, which recently within these last few years joined the NEC, that was an independent Division I institution in the NCAA, they are bringing in football. And you and I have talked about this before, and the conversation that we had about Chicago State having football for the Cougars, that was carried all over the place nationally. There was a lot of people picking it up, clipping it out from our conversation. And so now we know their schedule. The schedule has been released, and so they will be starting off their first ever game will be against Roosevelt. That game will be a home game on August 29th. They have UT Martin, Kentucky Christian, Butler, Norfolk State, Tarleton State, both of who have played spoilers before, North Carolina A&T, Lindenwood, Fort Lauderdale, and Virginia Lynchburg. And so they're calling it a new tradition, a new energy, a new era. Chicago State football isn't just a team, it's a movement, a spark for the university, a rallying point for the South Side, a chance to build something that lasts. Your thoughts on not only having a newer member to the NEC in Chicago State, but to having something that we almost never see, which is a school say, we're bringing in a football program, which is a lot of scholarships, a lot of opportunity, and so much moving forward. It can only go up for here for Chicago State. Your thoughts on the tangibility of the fact that we're seeing them not only say we're going to have football, but now we know the schedule and we know that it's rolling out here in 2026.
Yeah, this is a really exciting moment for Chicago State, pivotal for their athletics department. Football is not an easy undertaking, but they took the time to study it. They've been talking about this for a number of years. Their board is on board. They've had some really successful fundraising to be able to launch it. And I'm super excited for them and for the university, for the community. The South Side of Chicago having a collegiate Division I football team is tremendous. And I know, based on what I've seen in other sports, that they will be in the community and they will be working side by side with with their community and the youth in the community. So I think it's incredibly exciting for them. And as you said, they have a schedule in place with some really good D1 opponents. They'll be in the NEC as a full member in 2027 season, but they wanted their first year to be independent, and so they can get their legs under them, literally and figuratively. And so we're very excited to have them aboard, and I think just what it will do for their university, for the community. It is. I used the word pivotal earlier. I think it is pivotal for so many people for so many reasons.
Yeah, and you said they'll be independent in 2026. They'll join the NEC as a full member when it comes to football in 2027. So, I mean, what can you say about having Chicago State join you, and then after joining as a full member to the NEC, saying we're going to add football, which obviously helps your portfolio. You have Central Connecticut State, Duquesne, Mercyhurst, who's come in recently, LIU, Wagner, Stonehill, who came in within the last few years, Robert Morris, New Haven, who's come in recently. To know that Chicago State wasn't only interested in being a full member to the NEC, but to add to what, many consider the biggest portion of collegiate athletics, which is football, to gain a gift within a gift for Chicago State to say, hey, we're not only here for you, NEC, but we want to be part of your football membership. Just what that's meant to you as a commissioner.
The addition of football, I mean, like you said, football is a strong engine across the country in Division I athletics, and in the NEC as well. It is one of the sports that has some of the highest exposure for us relative to viewership, whether it's on NEC Front Row or ESPN Plus. And the ability for us to grow in numbers for football is significant, right? You want to make sure you're strong in football, and you want to make sure that you are continuing to look ahead. And we talked earlier about being bold and adventurous as a conference. Well, I think Chicago State is epitomizing that with the addition of football, right? They're being bold, they're being adventurous, and they're looking ahead. And they're taking on a challenge that maybe many institutions might not want to, but they see the benefit it will play for their institution generally, for their athletics department, again, for their community. So I think it's a win-win-win, right? Win for the Chicago State, win for the community, and a win for the NEC.
And with the NEC's future in football, when we see the associate members of a Duquesne, as well as a Robert Morris, having New Haven come in, having Mercyhurst come in, and now having Chicago State starting in 2027, what can you say about the portfolio of football in the NEC? The FCS is an incredible vehicle. I love the fact that they made a 2014 playoff work. They have a great system. I have followed that system through and even more closely this past season. What does the NEC football side of things look like for you as you step forward, and how you would describe this portfolio to the FCS?
Yeah, the FCS is really on the rise. If you look at this last championship game, they moved the championship game to Nashville, played that game in the Vanderbilt Stadium, and had the third largest attendance they've had in the history of the championship at a little over 24,000. So I think where FCS is going and what they're doing to try to elevate the brand of FCS is fantastic. And I think the NEC, our football, the parity within our league is always incredible. And so the competition usually comes down to the last weekend. And I'll give kudos to Ron and others in our staff who choose our television games. And we've somehow managed to pick the last game of the season, or second to last game of the season, as a television game where we have teams playing to determine who the AQ is. So it's exciting. Our regular season means a lot. And the parity and the competitive level of our league is tremendous. And our coaches, we have some really talented coaches, and they do an incredible job recruiting and then pivoting. With the transfer portal, not an easy space for any sport, but our coaches have done a great job of reloading, whether it's incoming freshmen or transfers, and they find a way, and they're great at developing talent. And so kudos to our coaches who continue to make the NEC competitive and exciting.
The FBS with the college football playoff is looking at maybe getting rid of AQs, automatic qualifiers. Why do you find in the FCS for that to be an imperative thing, that the AQ is a must? Because I'm against getting rid of AQs. The FCS has them. Why do you find them to be so important?
I think the AQ across all sports is incredibly important for D1 and the ability to compete and the ability to be part of a national championship. I think the AQ is a bedrock and a foundation to how the NCAA operates. And I, too, am a huge proponent of the AQ and think that getting rid of, CFP is a different animal, but I still think access is incredibly important, and a guaranteed access in that space as well, to at least try to keep the level of competition and recruiting it's part come to our school, but here's what we can do here, and here's a jumping off point, and here's where we can get you exposure. And if you take away that AQ, I think it's harder to recruit then to those programs. And so if you can't recruit, then it's harder to be competitively successful, and therefore the parity will dissolve, and then you have the haves and the have-nots, and I don't think that's good for any sport to have this huge gap between the top and the bottom. So I think the AQ is part of that. It's part of keeping the parity and the ability to recruit and the ability to compete within striking distance.
Yeah, I think it takes a lot out of it if that were to go away. What is March Madness without having the opportunity for everybody to have a fair shot at each other? And when you speak about that, and we look at FCS and we look at your scheduling, right? Your Division I AA, FBS Division 1A. When you're sitting down with the leaders of your institutions when it comes to your football membership, what is the conversation of them scheduling an FBS game, with challenging themselves, putting themselves out there? Obviously, in a lot of cases, they get paid to go play these games, so it's good for their institution. But to expand the profile of the NEC, what do you say to your FCS football members about making sure that they schedule that FBS game in non-conference play?
Yeah, the scheduling is really an institutional discretion, with the exception of a few policies we have around playing non-D1 games. But FBS games, you mentioned the financial benefits, right? It is important for our schools to find new ways to enhance their revenue. So playing FBS games, whether that's in football or in the higher level D1 basketball games, it's an important component of our scheduling. But beyond that, it's the experience that you get. Being able to go to a Florida or a Syracuse or Miami or whoever else our schools are competing against. That's could be a once in a lifetime opportunity for some of these students. Some never been on a plane, so they get on charter and go down to a game, playing in front of 80, 90,000 people. Yeah. Having that experience, that's a memory that they'll have for a lifetime. And so I think those are all part of the growth and the kind of opportunities that come with competing at a Division I team within the Northeast Conference or the NEC.
Noreen Morris here with us, NEC Commissioner, in this edition of the Commissioner Corner here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, where we speak with leaders in collegiate athletics about their conference, as well as the overall look at collegiate athletics and where we are heading. One of the things that we've kind of alluded to this morning, but to really dive into, is integrating your new members to the NEC. Those being over the last few years, Stonehill as well as Lemoyne and Mercyhurst, New Haven, Chicago State. Bring me into the integration and what kind of goes behind the scenes of helping these institutions feel comfortable. You did something phenomenal, which I appreciate and I applaud, is you allowed, I know in Lemoyne's case and Stonehill, that immediate opportunity to be in the NEC postseason. They couldn't, obviously qualify for the NCAAs, but you wanted to make sure they were playing for something. So just integrating these new members, what it's been like. They're all at different levels because they came in at different times, but just how the NEC is working through the Rubik's Cube, so to speak, of bringing in new membership.
I would say that our integration starts from the top. Our presidents welcome our new presidents with open arms. They become immediate participants in our meetings. We expect that they'll participate and be engaged, and they are. And so I think it starts from the top, where our presidents welcome in our new members and just hit the ground running. From a just integration from our staff, I have to give props to my staff who do a tremendous job of onboarding our new coaches. We have coaches orientations with all of our new coaches, whether it's new coaches because it's a new institution or just we have new coaches hired in. So our staff does a tremendous job of orienting them to how we operate in the NEC, what the expectations are, how we service them, our communication. And so we've got that, I think, down to a science. And I do think that in terms of the transitioning members from D2 to D1, it's a heavy lift from a compliance perspective. So I think Lisa Archibald in our office is part of our secret sauce. She is probably one of the best, if not the best, compliance person out there at a conference level. And the service that she provides to our transitioning members is incredible. She's with them every step of the way. Kudos to Lemoyne, who is now in their third year of going through the new process for the NCAA. So they've just completed their self-study. They're in the middle of an academic review audit, and hopefully come August, they will be full D1. So that there's a lot of steps to take, and Lisa Archibald's been a pivotal and critical part of that. And our schools, so Stonehill went through it, right? So they're now full D1. So the Stonehill folks are helping the Lemoyne folks. The Lemoyne they'll help Mercyhurst. Mercyhurst will help New Haven. Everybody wants everybody to succeed in this process. And so it is kind of a one big happy family approach where let's utilize our resources, the knowledge that we've gained over time, and share that with the rest of the with the rest of the group.
Well, yeah, and like you said, I mean, Stonehill, you and I were talking about this, a few months back, that Stonehill was ahead of schedule, and then Lemoyne trying to get on that horse and be ahead of schedule as well. So when it comes to the NCAAs and where we're at right now, just to share with everybody for some clarity of those that don't know, obviously Stonehill is full D1 now, but the road for the New Havens and the Mercyhurst, Chicago State was independent, so I would imagine they're already in it. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to Lemoyne, because they were already D1, but when it comes to Lemoyne, Mercyhurst, New Haven, if you can provide an update on when they're going to be eligible for the postseason of the NCAA as things currently are.
Sure. So as you mentioned, Stonehill, and as I mentioned previously, Stonehill finished the new process, so it went from 4 years to 3, with some significant benchmarks that have to be met in order to get out at year 3, and they met those. Lemoyne is in year 3 currently, yeah. And I'm confident that they will be able to meet all those benchmarks, and they should be full D1, provided they meet those benchmarks next year, so fall of 2026, so the 26-27 year, they should be full D1, so have full access to championships, full access to committees, and then the revenue distribution access happens over time, but they'll have access to some revenue distributions in the first 2 years and full in years 3 and 4. Mercyhurst is a year behind them, so assuming they get through the process, they would be full D1 in 27, 28, and then New Haven behind them in 28, 29.
So for you, in making sure you keep your AQs across all of your sports and have everything set, where are we at with? I know you and I talked about the reinstitution of men's lacrosse and different things that you've been working on in the NEC. So across the board, membership wise, with associate members and full members, how does everything look as far as keeping your AQs and building the brand of the NEC across multiple sports programs and what you provide and what are a part of, obviously the NEC and the NEC membership?
I'm proud of the NEC and the work that we've done throughout all of the transition. We did not lose any AQs in any of our sports. And so that is a tribute to some of our schools adding sports. It's a tribute to us continuing our partnership with our associate members. We have 6 of the 8 MEAC schools competing with us in a variety of sports. And then we have a number of schools who compete with us from a geographic standpoint, or their conference doesn't support the sport. And part of that is us wanting to ensure that schools don't drop sports. If you can't find a conference home, sometimes you see that schools decide to drop sports. So we are trying to not only assist the NEC in our AQs, but in some of these cases, we don't need those additional associate members to meet our minimum AQ numbers. We're doing it for the good of the sport, and we're doing it for the good of that institution, their ability to hold on to that sport and provide those really important participation opportunities. So it's again, we have not lost any AQs. In fact, we've added a few along the way with, like you said, men's lacrosse, men's volleyball we've added recently. So exciting times for us in the NEC, and we continue to provide more and more opportunities.
Why be a safe haven? Like you said, when we don't have to bring this school in, we don't have to, have this associate member. We already have our AQ. We have what we need. Why be a place that can help a school sustain a sport? I mean, you've made a decision to throw out the life raft and to do it when you don't need it. You've paid it forward in a lot of ways, Noreen. Why be that type of leader?
I think it's, again, tribute to my board and to our athletic directors and athletic administrators, is that we continually want to do the right thing and be good partners, whether that's good partners to each other within the league, partners with the NCAA, or partners with other schools. Division I athletics it's valued, and for many different reasons. But I was a former D1 athlete. What it did for me and my development as a student, as a person, as a professional is incredible. And so if we can continue to offer those opportunities and do it in a way that we're good partners and we are helping to enhance D1 athletics, then right now that's the way we want to operate. And again, kudos to our board and to our athletic administrators for recognizing that.
And I have to ask you this, we always talk about this, but, we talked about, do you have the dancing shoes ready for expansion? Mm-hmm. We've talked about 10, we've talked about 12 full-time members. You're dancing around that area, so to speak. You've spoken to me about them being, blue sneakers that are ready to go, or blue slippers that you can just slip on, when we talk about the color of the NEC being blue and white. So where are we at right now when we look at full membership? Are these still slippers that you can slide on and have the conversation? Where are we at?
Well, you know what? I've upped my shoe game recently.
Okay.
So I've gone from my blue sequence sneakers to gold sneakers. kind of a retro back to the Michael Johnson days. And so, I got the gold on. I'm ready to go for gold. But membership with every league, membership is a constant agenda item on meeting schedules. And obviously, as we're working through our strategic plan, it's a big part of how do we define ourselves and where are we going and how are we going to get there. Every league is continually talking about membership, as does the NEC. So I can't really say anything more than that at this point. Another, state secrets, but just know that that is always at the forefront of our conversations.
And you've been so good at finding Division II institutions that can elevate themselves as you step forward in the strategic plan to not give any school away, but do you still look Division II, or are you saying, hey, where we are right now in our strategic plan and who we've brought in, and knowing that we have this staggered effect of Stonehill's already in, Lemoyne will hopefully be in 26-27, Mercyhurst 27-28, and then 28-29 for New Haven. Do you now actively look at Division I where you're not going to have to wait that time for membership? How do you kind of view the strategic plan? Is it more of let's try and work in a Division I where we can immediately integrate them, or how do you see that?
From a strategy standpoint, obviously bringing in a D1 institution into the NEC would be, the ideal answer, because of what you just said, they come in right away, they count towards your AQ, they know what it is to be D1, they don't have to go through this reclass process. So that has always been, that's a good process. Now, the D2 realm that we've been in has worked for us. We're getting schools who really want to invest, who want to be in D1. They bring excitement, they bring innovation, and that has been a really good process for us. Unfortunately, the NCAA has put a moratorium on bringing in D2 members through June of 27. So that has put a bit of a plug in that access point. But frankly, I'm not sure how many other D2s in our region or elsewhere we're ready, and we're really looking ahead in that way. Yeah. So I'm not sure that the moratorium is really going to change the way we look at our membership in moving forward, because I'm not, again, there were the schools that we brought in, they had been looking at it and planning for it, and that's a process that you have to get your board on board, and you have to get the institution on board, and so membership is if you're going to look right now in the current state between now and June 2027, D1 membership is really the way to go.
That coming here from Noreen Morris. 2 final points. We know that you talked about the strength of basketball being an identifier for the NEC. Men's and women's basketball are heading into their respective conference tournaments coming up in the not too distant future, and then the AQ of going to the NCAA tournament Division I for men's and women's basketball. We know that Long Island University, LIU, in both men's and women's for you in the NEC have found their way to the top 2, and currently second as we're talking in women's, first in men's. On the men's side, we have CCSU behind them, Lemoyne, who, as you said, is not eligible yet. But we do see the top 3 there. On the women's side for the NEC, FDU, LIU, and then Mercyhurst, who is not eligible but is still competing. What can you say about how basketball has gone on the men's and women's side, and the excitement for your respective tournaments, and knowing that you have an opportunity to get that AQ, push forward, and if something happens like it happened with a Merrimack in the past, that it even shows more validity to the NEC to say, we can't even send this team, but this team's been so good.
Yeah, and we're excited. I mean, the men's and women's basketball tournaments are 2 of our high-profile championships, and I cannot believe that we only have one more full weekend after this for the men's tournament. Our first quarterfinal is first Wednesday in March, so we're getting to it. It's been exciting. Like you said, LIU on the men's side is a couple of games ahead. They have a couple of losses. FDU on the women's side is undefeated. They were undefeated last year in conference, so we'll see if they can pull off a back-to-back undefeated season. We are very excited about it. In fact, the last week of play, the last 2 weeks for women, is going to be really fun because we've already qualified 5 teams for the men's basketball tournament, and we've qualified 7 for the women. And so these last couple of weeks will be who's going to get those last spots. And unfortunately for New Haven, they're not eligible to be in our tournament this year. But they've come out of the gates pretty strong on the men's side, and they are. Hasn't been as successful on the women's side, but I tell you, I've seen them play, and they're very competitive. They're a good team, well-coached team. So New Haven is definitely been a competitor. But on the men's and women's side, we got St. Francis, who will be fighting for that last spot. And then on the men's side, it's Chicago State and St. Francis looking to fill in with Wagner and Stonehill as well. And on the women's side, it's really just St. Francis and Chicago or Central Connecticut fighting it out. But we love our tournament. The home site, home seeds all the way through make the regular season really relevant because you have to not only earn a spot into the tournament, but you can earn a home game. Yeah. So we'll have 4 home games, quarterfinal games, and then the highest seeds remaining host the semis, and then the highest seed remaining after that hosts the final. So you can be home all the way through, and I think that's just a great benefit and reward for the teams that play well throughout the year, and they can reward their fans with a home game. So again, always an exciting time for us, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I've experienced it on the men's and women's side. What this NEC can bring to it, like you said, not having a location where everybody has to go, but having the opportunity to not only get into the tournament because not everybody makes it, but to get yourself some home games so everything in the regular season counts. The NEC does a great job of giving credence to everything that you do inside of the conference leading into the conference tournament. Final note from you, Noreen, in this Commissioner Corner, as we take a look at collegiate athletics around the country. You and I have, broken it down that there's so many things going on. I mean, as a commissioner, you got a light schedule. It's not like you're dealing with NIL and the transfer portal and realignment and the looming thought that the SEC and the Big Ten, as I predicted years ago, could go and form their own thing, take parts of the ACC and the Big 12, take Notre Dame, form a group of 60, leave everybody else to pasture in the FBS. What does that mean for them? Does it bond with the FCS? It's not like all of these existential crisis things are going on, but how do you look at the current climate of collegiate athletics and what is trickling down to the NEC?
The current climate for college athletics, I would say, is challenging, mostly because of the external forces. You've followed the news. The NCAA and some of the conferences are continually getting caught up in lawsuits, whether that's through what we saw with the House settlement, now with the volunteer coaches, first the baseball coaches and the rest of the sport. So we continue to have litigation challenges, which have a financial hit on our members when they are settled. The eligibility space right now with you can earn, in some cases, more money staying in college and getting NIL money than you could if you went pro. So we're seeing pressure on the system from external, whether it's going for temporary restraining orders or injunctions for students to get extended beyond our typical 4 years to play 5. Yeah. So that's been challenging. I think from an eligibility standpoint, I think we're winning more of those than we're losing, but unfortunately those are happening in different state courts. And so every state might respond to that differently. So What I've said in the past is there's a lot of things that we cannot control. It doesn't mean we ignore them. We have to monitor them, evaluate them, figure out how they might impact the NEC. We want to keep our eye on the ball, which is let's make sure we're taking care of our own business. Let's make sure we're providing the opportunities for our student athletes through championships and programming and services. So we continue to have a focus on that and making sure that we are operating with integrity and with financially resourceful and efficient. And so we'll continue to focus on what we do every day and support our ADs and our coaches. And then obviously my job is to stay at the 30,000 foot level.
Yeah.
And monitor what's happening and keep our folks up to date and apprised of, okay, here's where we are and here's what could happen out of that. Here's how it might impact us, whether it's through access to committees or impact on our revenue distribution, or changes to rules. The rules changes are at a faster pace than ever before. So Lisa Archibald, like I said before, is wonderful. So she's able to help us track all of that. But really just change in college athletics is not if, it's when and how quickly. And it's just a matter of continuing to adapt and not getting bogged down with the negativity and just look forward and look at, okay, the world is changing around us. How can we adapt to it and continue to do what we do best, which is provide opportunities for our student athletes?
Yeah. Like you said, I mean, having to be ready for whatever could come around the corner and anticipating things. And like you said, having that 30,000 foot approach as opposed to just being level with it to be able to get a wider view of it. And it's funny because I always say when I'm up in a plane, figuratively and literally, it helps me kind of open up my brain to a lot of things. So congratulations to you and your team for what you've done in the NEC to get 30,000 feet above and to be working on this strategic plan as you move forward. You've had a lot of success and you've been able to grow, and anytime you've hit adversity, you've responded with expansion and elevating your portfolio. So it speaks a lot to you. It speaks a lot to everybody working together, the presidents, the athletic directors, and of course your staff at the NEC. And as always, Noreen, I appreciate the time and I look forward to our next conversation as always.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much for having me on again. It's great to be with you and looking forward to the next time.
Sounds good, Noreen. Have a good day and enjoy your 30,000 foot approach moving forward.
Thank you.
Take care. That coming from Noreen Morris here from the NEC, taking a look at her conference as well as overall collegiate athletics and where we are right now in an ever-changing world where you really have to anticipate the trends to be ready for what's going on, and we appreciate her time as always. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break. I'm continuing to actually we're going to carry this right now, and Gene Marshall is speaking from Binghamton University, so I'm going to go ahead and carry this right now. I'm going to put up the Binghamton logo, and we're going to carry what Gene Marshall is saying from a press conference at Binghamton University.
Mr. Dave Semick, and this helps us to become what I call a destination campus. Binghamton is going to be a destination campus where you can get everything that you need, from a world-class education to championship athletics to community service in one place. So this is just another step in that process. I do want to thank Kate Madigan, who's our chair of the BU Council, and the council members who are staunch athletic supporters. They come to every game. They worry about what we do. They ask what they can do to help. They're a big part of our CWAL luncheon that's going to happen on Monday. So I do want to thank them. But at this time, I'd like to have our president come up. I'm going to give her a handoff, but I also have a jersey for her.
So once again, this is new president of Binghamton University as they make an announcement on an athletic addition here.
Oh man, this is our first jersey here for the kids.
and we're sharing this with you live as it happens. We thank Binghamton University and Binghamton Athletics in our partnership, our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership, being able to share this with them and share this moment with them as we carry this, and give all credit to Binghamton University for this this press conference, which we are simply sharing, and appreciate them having this opportunity to do this. And a big announcement that was coming in. If you went to their website or their social media, you saw the Binghamton Athletics scheduled a press conference today at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Friday, February 20th at the Event Center, making an announcement for a division for the women's sports offerings for the NCAA and what Binghamton University can bring forward here. And so they're currently addressing this with some jerseys, taking some pictures, sharing some things here as the president gets set to speak, which I'm very excited about this opportunity and looking forward to this opportunity of what's coming up here with Binghamton University. A very special message, a special press conference that they're having here to share in what's to come. And here is our new president of Binghamton University.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Oh my goodness, this is so exciting and so much fun. I am just thrilled to be here today sharing in this great news and this great announcement. Please join me in recognizing our athletic director, Gene Marshall, for his leadership. Great. His leadership in making this happen. Gene, you've just had so much vision and so much passion for bringing this sport to Binghamton, and I appreciate that. Also, the entire staff in the Division of Athletics, I know it is a lot of work to stand up a new sport, and I appreciate everyone just diving in with so much enthusiasm and dedication to making this happen. So, to the Division of Athletics, thank you. We are so proud and excited to be welcoming a new Division I intercollegiate sport to Binghamton and providing a new opportunity for our student athletes. What makes Binghamton one of the nation's top public universities, a top 10 public Ivy, is that this university is always looking to innovate and to be one step ahead. We do that in research and scholarship, and we innovate with students first, giving our students a pathway to success. And women's flag football is that same kind of innovation, that revolutionary next step in intercollegiate athletics. Now I'm going to share some data with you. The National Federation of State High School Associations shows that during the 24-25 academic year, girls flag football at the high school level grew by 60%, with nearly 70,000 participants across the nation. We need to make opportunities for these outstanding student athletes. Nearly 1,000 high schools added girls flag football programs in that school year alone. Beyond interscholastic competition, the National Federation estimates that more than 500,000 girls between the ages of 6 and 17 played flag football in one form or another. It is the nation's fastest growing sport. It has received tremendous support from the NFL, and you're going to see flag football played for the first time at the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. Binghamton University needs to be in on the ground floor of flag football at the collegiate level and make sure that we're providing opportunities to compete. That's especially important for us here in Broome County. In the upcoming 2026 season, there are 17 schools in the local area that are fielding girls flag football teams. That includes Binghamton, Vestal, Johnson City, Union Endicott, Maine Endwell, Shenango Valley, Shenango Forks, and Susquehanna Valley, to name just a few. And we are welcoming here today our Binghamton Patriots flag football team. They are here with us today. Girls, could you stand and be recognized? You all are trailblazers in this sport, and we wish you the best in your upcoming season, and we invite you to come back to Binghamton anytime and to support our team and to find your opportunity here. We are so looking forward to providing both local and national opportunities for our women's flag football athletes. This moment is also a significant step forward in Binghamton's support and promotion of women's athletics more broadly. I'd like to note that we have the upcoming Celebrating Women's Athletics Luncheon next week. That's a tradition that has existed here since 2006. Of course, it will be my first one as new president. That luncheon has brought some of the biggest names in women's sports to campus and raised so much money in support of our Student Athlete Scholarship Fund. The history of women's sports at Binghamton stretches back to the creation of the women's swimming and diving team in 1969. And we've had approximately 2,000 women athletes wear the Binghamton uniform in competition since then. By 1983, Alice Willis and Marilyn Milligan of the women's cross-country team were Binghamton's first female All-Americans. By 1991, we had female All-Americans in swimming. Monique Hacker was a 5-time Division III national champion in the triple jump between 1996 and 1998. We've had so many highlights since then at the Division I level, including Emily Mackay representing us in the 2024 Summer Olympics in Paris. Women's flag football is going to be a vehicle for so many young women to continue playing the sport they love at a higher level. And we're excited to welcome these student athletes to campus because they bring special skills and talents. And we always need to remember that we value our student athletes first as members of our community for those talents that they bring to us, to our community and to our classrooms. I saw this firsthand when I was at the University of Connecticut and had women student athletes in my classes. Their application of leadership and teamwork in the classroom brings a fresh perspective that other students can learn from. We see that here at Binghamton every day. The leadership, the teamwork, the tenacity of our student athletes sets an example for everyone. It's also a great conduit for the energy and excitement and pride that we bring to our student community and our local community. I am so looking forward to the spring of 2028 and our first women's flag football game. And until then, we will work on building up this sport, building the infrastructure that we need, and making sure that we are excelling across all sports here at Binghamton. As always, go Bearcats.
So with that being said, Binghamton University welcoming a new addition to their athletic opportunities, and that new addition to Binghamton University is going to be women's flag football as an intercollegiate sports offering, officially beginning in the spring of 2028. As you just heard, that just happened instantaneously, and I want to thank Binghamton University for this press conference. I want to thank the opportunity to share the official Binghamton University press conference. You know, obviously all credit goes to Binghamton and Binghamton Athletics. This is their press conference, and in our partnership, sharing some audio live as it happens from Athletic Director Gene Marshall, as well as the new president, Ann D'Oliva, and celebrating the fact that women's flag football is coming to Binghamton University in the spring of 2028, and we'll be sharing this on all of our wonderful outlets: Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podvine, Spotify, Podchaser.com, TuneIn, YouTube. The audio you just heard is going to be shared and out there and available to you in this wonderful announcement, as well as shared on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Very excited for this. Binghamton University welcoming a new addition to their athletic opportunities in the spring of 2028. There will be women's flag football, and Binghamton University jumping right onto this. I had the amazing opportunity, thanks to the wonderful schools here in Central New York, that decided, there was a few schools that decided to open up girls flag football as a sport in the high schools here. And I, got to do that with Beeville and with CNS and really celebrate that we had girls flag football here and some pioneers at the high school level here in central New York. And now to know that Binghamton University at the collegiate level being a pioneer of bringing in women's flag football and being a part of the building of this sport at the collegiate level. It's been amazing to see it at the high school level, to see the talent and the fun and the excitement and this new offering for girls that love football to be involved in it, and now women to be able to do that at Binghamton University. It just goes to show what we're doing here in the state of New York, and the blessing from God that I have been connected to people that care about expanding women's athletics, girls athletics, and doing it at the collegiate and high school level. So great news. Cannot wait for it. Very much looking forward to it, and happy to be able to share this. Thanks to Gene Marshall, Andy Oliva, and everybody who at Binghamton University has helped to make this possible. We'll take our final step aside of today's broadcast, a wake-up call, and I can't wait to cover women's flag football at Binghamton University for the Bearcats.
This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. Could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad. Despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here, we just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to, Buffalo. They're going all different places because we don't have the place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project from planning all the way through execution to opening the doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. And I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing, and so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in, and then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and in those situations come up and we work with people, and that's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community any way we can, and I guess part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gamepointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
And now a message from Myers Creek Brewing Company, with locations at their Cazenovia Farm Brewery, Syracuse Inner Harbor Tap Room, and soon-to-be Lake Placid Tap Room.
Well, I think first and foremost, the Feldmeyer family and our team are extremely passionate about what we do. We care very much about what we do. The Feldmeyer family is always investing. Our taproom management team, our brew management team, our marketing management team, and all of the team members that get after it every day, they leave it on the field. They put their heart and soul into it. I know for a fact that everyone that works at Myers Creek wants to be there, and we want them to be there. You know, we want them to feel good about their job. And again, if you've never been to a Myers Creek, especially to the brewery, I mean, I want your eyes to open really big. I want you to see how big of a brand this is. I want you to see where we're going. The sky is the limit, and I feel very proud of that, and I'm very excited about that. When you think of designing a menu for a brewery, it's kind of open to a lot of different interpretations. I mean, you can do American, you can do Asian, you can do Italian, and you just have to find, you know, how that meets that pub style dining experience, that gastropub vibe. And I think it's super fun for us because obviously we know that, you know, everyone in the world's gonna sell a pizza or a burger or a french fry, but what can we do to be different? And what can we do to be true to who we are? We are a brewery, you know, a brew pub. So the flavor profiles are kind of all over the place. And I think it's super cool that we have a massive smoker at the brewery in Cazenovia, and we smoke a lot of our products. A delicious smoked turkey. We have barbecue ribs on Sundays. From a pulled pork sandwich to a chicken wing, and you go to the Inner Harbor and you go to the Kaz location, and you'll find similarities in the menu, but also things that are a little different, and also kind of fit those different demographics or different communities, and also hopefully just drive you to try every tap room that we have open at some point, because you get a little something different at each one. You know, we understand how hard it is to, you know, work every day and get after it every day, and when you're done at the end of your day, you want to go out and put your feet up in a good ambiance and good environment. So we take pride in that. We make sure that everyone knows that they're very much valued to us.
Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Bryan and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry loving friend. Right, Lily? Avicoli's Restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicoli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on in to the neighborhood spot Avicoli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K-9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K-9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to k9campground.com as well. That's K9, ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily? Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. And you need to get there this Saturday, February 21st, following the Syracuse, North Carolina game at the Dome. Cayenne Anthony will be on site, on location for an event called Tops Rip Night. Tops, yeah, that Tops. The Tops that I've been opening up cards of pretty much my entire life. They're going to be sponsoring an event at GG Cards and Breaks, and it will be featuring a special appearance by Cayenne Anthony during the event. The event starts at 5 p.m., goes until 8:30. During that time, there'll be raffles and plenty of giveaways, and then amidst that event, Cayenne will be joining us. So he won't be there right at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock is when you get in, you get all of your special things that are going. I don't want to give everything away, but there's going to be raffle tickets, opportunities for prizes and whatnot. Some things that are there for kids 15 and under, which is going to be really, really special. So there's a lot of great stuff going on. You want to get there as early as you can to win as much as you can and be a part of as many of the events going on at GG Cards and Breaks. And then following everybody getting in, we'll have Cayenne Anthony come in. I'm going to have the opportunity to speak with him. I'll be emceeing the entire event from 5 p.m. to 8:30. Can't wait to see you all there at GG Cards and Breaks this Saturday, February 21st. Cayenne Anthony comes into GG Cards and Breaks on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, right off of Teal Ave for what's called Tops Rip Night. Cannot wait to see you on site, on location for that. Big time thanks to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. Big time fan of everything that's going on at Chick-fil-A. So much appreciation for Megan Sorber and her team, and just want to give them a big time thank you for the work that they're doing in the largest Chick-fil-A I've ever seen in my life. Giant brick building, the double drive-through, massive parking area. You can order on the app, order inside, order in the drive-through, or order catering. Find out more about Chick-fil-A on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard by going to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and clicking on their logo, which simply says Chick-fil-A, Bridge Street, and Erie Boulevard. We look forward to seeing you out there today and every Monday through Saturday. Remember, they are closed on Sundays in honor of our Lord. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank you for being a part of the show today for the Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. Lead, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero. Top Dog of the Week going to Team USA, the women's hockey team, for getting their gold medal in a 2-1 victory in overtime in a sudden death goal over Canada to get themselves a 2026 Winter Olympics gold medal. There are Top Dogs of the Week, proudly presented by K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare, and an amazing conversation and another chapter that is now secured for Commissioner Corner here on Wake Up Call, and this chapter featuring the longtime guest that we've had here on the show, NEC Commissioner Noreen Morris. So a lot of great stuff, as well as carrying the live announcement that Binghamton University will be adding women's flag football as their 22nd sport there at Binghamton University in Division I athletics. You've been with us up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. Of course, you've been with us on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, and you'll find us on any one of these outlets. Make sure to download us, subscribe, and follow on each of these outlets. Big time thanks and support to our Central and Upstate New York partners. Go and visit them today. We don't just work with any business. I work with the businesses that I put my own money into, that I appreciate, that I value, and that I trust. So big time thanks to Great Lakes Honda City, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Myers Creek, Bryan's Landing, K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare, Mother's Cupboard, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world, K-9 Campground Dog Boarding, Avicoli's, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Pizza Man, Game Point Sports Complex, Chick-fil-A in DeWitt, and of course we are the exclusive, and Bryan's Landing, if I didn't say Bryan's Landing, and we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Onondaga Community College Lasers, the Laser Lounge, here with you on Wake Up Call. You can find all of our content with OCC by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, find the OCC playlist. You can also Get more information by going to ononondagalasers.com. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bearcats every Tuesday during Bearcat Time on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, worldwide Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, featuring student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni telling the greater story of Binghamton University while also telling their personal journey with Binghamton. All of our content is on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Binghamton playlist. The Bearcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information on your Binghamton University Bearcats, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, I want to thank you all once again for being a part of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. The next time you see me broadcasting live, I will be on site, on location at GG Cards and Brakes for Topps Rip Night, and I can't wait to see you all there. So very much looking forward to it. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. I'll see you Saturday, February 21st, 5 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Cayenne Anthony at GG Cards and Brakes, Topps Rip Night, giveaways all night long from 5 to 8:30. Cannot wait to see you there on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. For now, from the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, get your cars at Great Lakes. Check them out at greatlakeshondacity.com. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. As always, God bless, no stress, do your best. God's got your back. Make sure you have his. I'll talk with you soon.